Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are wrestling with a concept that, well, it feels like it was ripped straight out of a dystopian novel, but it's actually happening right now.
Yeah.
Quietly in the background of the apps we use every day, I want you to imagine a nanny, but not a Mary Poppins type who sings songs or anything like that.
No, this is more like an invisible nanny, one that stands right behind your shoulder and reads every single letter you type in real time. And then just based on how you type, it decides if you're even allowed to see the answer to your question.
That is the reality we're looking at today. We have this presentation in front of us titled, Big Brother Will Babysit Your Teens, ChatGPT's Bold New Parenting Strategy.
Mm. And we're going to walk through it slide by slide because it lays out in pretty stark detail how OpenAI is rolling out age prediction tech. And, age prediction sounds so technical and boring. But what we're really talking about is a massive shift in how the internet even works.
Yeah.
It's a move from the internet as, say, a library where you pull a book off the shelf and if it's inappropriate, well, that's on you, to the internet being a guided tour. And the guide decides what you're mature enough to see.
Right. And the big question we have to ask right up front, and I really want you, the listener, to keep this in mind as we go, is who actually gets to decide what's appropriate for a teenager? Is it a parent? Is it the teen themselves? Or is it some algorithm running on a server farm somewhere in California?
That is the question of the hour.
Okay, so let's jump in. Slide one. It sets the stage with a title that is, frankly, pretty aggressive. Big Brother Will Babysit Your Teens. And the visual is this looming digital eye over the silhouette of a kid. Not exactly subtle.
No, it's definitely leaning into the irony. Usually, Big Brother is the thing you're fighting against. Here, this presentation is framing it almost as a service. Like, don't worry, parents, Big Brother's got this. The subhead really nails the tension here. Is it protecting minors, or is it just raising your kids for you?
That's the core conflict, isn't it? It feels like we're moving into a world where these tech companies aren't just giving us tools anymore, they're providing governance.
Exactly. Active governance. In the past, if a kid found something bad online, it was because a search engine passively gave them what they asked for. This new system is an active guardian. It makes judgment calls. It's literally deciding, I know you asked for this, but based on who I think you are, I'm going to say no.
Which brings us to the why. Why
Uh-oh.
now? Why this sudden pivot to active guardianship? If you flip to slide 2, the answer is, predictably, green.
Always follow the money. This slide's called The Setup, Why Age Prediction Matters Now. And the numbers are, they're just eye-watering. We're talking over $1 trillion in industry investment. And for ChatGPT specifically, revenue has tripled to $20 billion.
20 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that puts them in a completely different weight class. That's not a cute startup anymore. That's an empire.
It's an empire, and empires have to protect their borders. The slide mentions a really critical pivot. OpenAI is prepping for adult content and ads.
Wait, hold on. Adult content and ads? I thought this was all about protecting the children.
Well, see, that's where it gets interesting. If you want to scale a business to that level, you need ads, and you need to serve content that adults want, which might be edgy or complex or, mature. But, and this is but you cannot have Coca-Cola or Nike running ads next to a chatbot that's explaining, I don't know, something really inappropriate to a 12-year-old. It would be brand suicide.
So let me get this straight. You're saying building this safety wall around the kids isn't necessarily pure altruism. It's basically clearing the room so the adults can have their party and the company can sell tickets.
It's a bit cynical, but yeah. Structurally, safety is the prerequisite for monetization. The slide actually asks, who asked Silicon Valley to be the world's nanny? And the answer, implicitly, is the advertisers.
That really puts a different spin on it. It's not just think of the children, it's think of the quarterly earnings.
To be fair, they aren't mutually exclusive. You can want to protect kids and make money, but the money is certainly accelerating the timeline.
All right, moving to slide 3. We see the public face of this. It's titled, The Safety Challenge Your Kids, Their Rules. And there's a quote here from Sam Altman saying teens need tailored safeguards.
Which is a very politically correct way of saying the internet is a mess and parents are overwhelmed.
The slide calls it algorithmic helicopter parenting. I love that phrase, but man, it's also terrifying.
It's accurate. A helicopter parent hovers, right? Watches every interaction. The system just does that at a massive scale. And we have to mention the legal context on this slide. Lawsuits are piling up, claiming these AI companies failed to prevent harm, so this blueprint they're rolling out, prioritizing safety over privacy and freedom, it's Also, a legal shield.
Safety over privacy and freedom. That's written right there on the slide. That is a heavy, heavy trade-off. We usually like to think we can have all three.
In the digital world, you rarely get all three. If you want a space that is perfectly safe for a 13-year-old, you have to sacrifice privacy. You have to monitor them to ensure that safety. You just can't have an unmonitored safe space. It's an oxymoron in this context.
So how does this monitoring actually happen? Because this is where I think most people, and honestly myself included, start to get a little creeped out. Slide 4 is under the hood, how ChatGPT plays detective.
This is the technical bit. It breaks it down into a 3-step process. Step 1 is data collection, which is what you'd expect. Account age, activity times. But step 2 is where the magic or, the horror happens, pattern recognition.
The slide calls it behavioral profiling. Break that down. What does that actually mean? Is it just looking for bad words?
Oh, it's way more sophisticated than that. It's something called stylometry. The AI analyzes your syntax, your vocabulary, the complexity of your sentences. It's looking at keystroke dynamics, basically the rhythm of how you type.
So it knows if I'm typing like a tired millennial versus, say, a hyperactive Gen Zer.
Pretty much. It looks at slang evolution. Are you using the word skibidi ironically or natively? Do you use emojis at the end of a sentence, or as punctuation? Do you capitalize your I's?
Wait a minute. So if I'm a 35-year-old gamer and I'm lazy with my typing and I use a lot of internet slang...
You have just hit on the false positive problem. The slide notes this. If you're an adult who types like a teen, the system might flag you. It's all probabilistic. It's guessing. And step 3 basically says, when uncertain, default to treating you like a child. Better safe than sued.
That is just wild. I want to ask you, the listener, right now, how comfortable are you with an AI psychoanalyzing your sentence structure to decide if you're a legal adult? It feels, I don't know, like phrenology for the digital age.
It's a form of digital profiling, for sure. And unlike a bouncer at a club who looks at your ID, this bouncer is watching how you walk up to the door.
And if that bouncer decides you're not old enough, what happens? Slide 5 takes us into parental override mode. And this list of blocked content is extensive.
It is. No graphic violence, no self-harm content, no risky challenges. But the one that always catches people's eye is no romantic role play.
Well, there goes the entire fan fiction community.
It sounds funny, but for a lot of teens, exploring relationships through text is a huge part of growing up. The AI just shuts that down cold. But it goes further. The slide mentions distress alerts.
Ah, the snitch feature.
Essentially. If the AI detects a conversation is spiraling into something dangerous like suicidal ideation or extreme bullying, it doesn't just block it. It can notify the parents.
Oh my God. Imagine being 16. You're in your room, pouring your heart out to a chatbot because you feel alone, and suddenly the screen locks and says, "We've emailed your mother." That's a nuclear breach of trust.
It is. It could save a life, potentially, but it completely destroys the idea of a private digital space.
Okay, so let's say the algorithm gets it wrong. I'm that 35-year-old gamer. I get flagged.
Well,
How do I fix it? The slide calls this the fix, but it sounds like a nightmare.
you have to verify. And not by just clicking a box. You have to use the persona identity service.
For those who don't know, what is persona?
It's not just uploading a photo. It's a biometric verification platform. It scans the geometry of your face to make sure you're a real human and estimates your age. We're talking 3D mapping of your face.
So to chat with a bot about my homework, I have to give a private company a 3D map of my face.
The slide puts it sarcastically. Nothing builds trust like making teens or adults photograph their face to access a chatbot. It's a massive friction point. You're trading biometric privacy for access.
It really feels like we're being trained to just hand over everything, our thoughts, our typing patterns, our actual faces, just to use the internet.
That is the trade. But, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here because slide 6 forces us to.
I knew you were going to do this.
We have to. Slide 6 is the upside actual protection from real harm. We can sit here and complain about privacy, but the internet is a horrific place for a child.
Okay, fair point. Walk us through the benefits.
Body image defense. We all know social media algorithms have driven a generation of girls into eating disorders. This AI actively blocks toxic diet culture and extreme beauty standards. That is a clear net positive.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
If it stops one kid from starving themselves, that's worth a lot of awkward typing analysis.
Right. And then there's the big number, crisis intervention and reporting. In early 2025 alone, there were 75,000 reports of child sexual abuse material CSAM sent to authorities.
75,000.
75,000. That's not a glitch. That is a deluge of abuse. These filters, as invasive as they are, they're the dam holding that back. The slide says these dangers are real and slip through the unfiltered internet.
That does change the calculus a bit. It's not just corporate greed. It's a response to a genuine, very dark reality.
Exactly.
It's the classic security versus liberty debate, just updated for the AI age. And to manage all of this, they've built what Slide 7 calls the safety fortress.
It's a pretty impressive piece of engineering. It's a multi-layered system. You have layer 1, training filters, which try to strip bad stuff out of the AI's brain before it even learns it. Layer 2 is real-time detection, which is the nanny watching you type. And layer 3 is human review for the really tricky edge cases.
And layer 4 is expert partnerships.
Right, so working with groups like the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Internet Watch Foundation, this isn't just OpenAI guessing. They're plugging into the global infrastructure of child safety.
But the slide poses a philosophical question that I think really sticks with me. Should a for-profit company control this much of childhood?
And that's the crux of it, isn't it? We're not talking about a government agency or a democratically elected school board. We're talking about a private company that exists to maximize shareholder value.
Which brings us right back to the uncomfortable reality of Slide 8. The awkward truth money changes everything.
Yep, we're circling back to the business model. The slide bluntly states, age prediction isn't just about safety. It's about legally covering their assets.
Covering their assets. Yeah, I see what they did there.
It's clever, but it's accurate. The whole strategy is to treat adults like adults, meaning let's show them ads, let's get them hooked, let's monetize them, while ring-fencing the minors to avoid regulation. If they can prove to the government, look, we locked all the kids in this safe room, the government is much more likely to let them run wild in the other rooms.
So the safety features are basically a regulatory hall pass.
Precisely. Safety measures are often the prerequisite for scaling an ad business.
So where does that leave us, the actual users? Slide 9 is titled, Your Rights, such as they are.
It's pretty bleak. It says you can check your status in the settings to see if the nanny is watching you. The slide notes transparency points awarded.
And you can verify with the selfie.
Right. But the reality check at the bottom of the slide is key. It says, the good news, you have some control. The bad news, some is doing some very heavy lifting here.
Some control. I guess you have the control to just not use it. But if you want to use the tool, you play by their rules.
That's the nature of these centralized platforms. You are a guest in their house.
Which brings us to the wrap-up. Slide 10. The uncomfortable questions we're left with. We have to weigh this all out.
It's like a balance sheet for the soul. On one side, the benefit. Real protections from predators, from mental health crises, from toxic content. We can't just dismiss that.
But on the other side, the cost. We're surrendering parental authority to algorithms. And this point really gets me, teaching kids to accept surveillance as normal.
That is the long-term cultural impact. If you grow up assuming an AI is monitoring your tone, correcting your behavior, maybe reporting you to your parents, you are being conditioned to accept surveillance. You stop noticing the camera because the camera has always been there.
It's privacy eroded for their own good.
And that leads to the final slide, number 11, the real question, safety or surrender.
It calls age prediction a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Right, because it treats the symptom kids seeing bad stuff, but it doesn't treat the underlying cause. And it asks, do we want to raise a generation that believes corporate AI makes better decisions about their lives than they do?
That's a profound thought. If the AI automatically stops you from seeing something bad, you never learn how to navigate it yourself. You never build that resilience.
Exactly. You remain a child, intellectually, because the machine never lets you skin your knee. The final provocation on the slide is haunting. Who protects the youth from becoming comfortable with being watched, sorted, and controlled, all in the name of safety?
Wow. So we are solving one problem, safety, but we're potentially creating a brand new one.
Yeah.
Dependency and compliance.
And that's a problem an algorithm can't solve.
Well, on that cheery note, look, this is heavy stuff, but it's the reality of the tools we're using every single day. If you enjoyed this slide-by-slide breakdown, if you like knowing what's happening behind the curtain of these massive tech companies, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep doing these deep dives into the documents that are shaping our future.
Absolutely. The more you know about what's in the black box, the less scary it becomes. Or maybe more scary, but at least more understandable.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one last thought to mull over. It wasn't explicitly in the slides, but it's been rattling around in my head this whole time. If an AI acts as a parent, correcting your behavior, setting boundaries, keeping you safe, at what point does it eventually start to feel like a parent? And what happens when a teenager trusts the machine, which is always there and always listening, more than the actual humans in their house?
That is the real singularity.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.
Take care.